Hello everybody, this is Michael Crunt with Telerik, and today what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to create a pie chart using Telerik RadControls for Metro. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin by going File, New, Project. We're going to select JavaScript, Windows Store, Blank App, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to give this the name of Pie Chart Telerik, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press OK. Once our project finishes spinning up, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and close out of my default.js, and I'm going to go over underneath references. I'm going to right click and I'm going to select add reference. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place a check inside of Telerik UI for JS Metro, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select OK. So one thing to note is that Telerik controls automatically support integration with Blend. So I can go ahead and I can right click on default.html and select Open in Blend. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this project, and Blend for Visual Studio will begin spinning up. Now that we have Blend for Visual Studio loaded, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select underneath references, and you'll see all of the controls that Telerik has to offer for HTML. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag and drop RadChart onto the designer. Once I added RadChart onto the designer, you can see down at the bottom we have a div data win control telerik.ui.radchart with a closed div. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to modify this series for this chart very quickly to specify it's going to be a pie chart and then provide a little bit of sample data. So I can do this very easily by coming into the series and then pasting some sample code here, and you'll see we automatically in the designer can see our pie chart. But if we look underneath our Telerik win controls, we have data win options, we have a series that's set to type pie with a couple of different data points here, and I've only added 4 data points here. I want to go ahead and make this a little bit more complex and add in some data points. Of course, we're going to use the type of pie. We're going to specify values and categories, and we're also going to turn on some labels. So again, I can do that very easily by coming to the series, going clear, and then pasting in my new series. And if we look at the code here, again we have data win options, we have the series type set to pie, and then we're specifying an array of data. So we have values, categories, and we can keep scrolling through this list here, and we'll finally get to where we add labels and we set the visibility to true onto that. So now we have our application. We can see it in our designer window. We can see our labels over here. I'm just going to go ahead and go File, and I'm going to go Save All. I'm going to switch back over to Visual Studio. Once I go to Visual Studio, I can double click on my HTML page and see that that carried through. We'll go ahead and switch over to the simulator. We'll select Debug, Start Without Debugging. Our simulator will launch, and we now have our application.